Fuck you, fuck your face, and fuck your day.
To me, so bad mind. Wow, them no want see me shine. Them want me stop shine. Them no like me know say them no like me. See them a fight me see say them a fight me. Them want spite me, the whole of them a...
The thing I've always noticed about a common theme in the manosphere is basically the thing about human nature is human nature is intended for mating and mate selection and dating and reproduction purposes for the most part. And a common theme that I always hear from a lot of the men in the manosphere about their trials and tribulations is the women that they meet. And if you actually stop and think about their stories and actually listen to their stories, no matter how you break it down, once you boil it down to its basis, its base core form, you learn that they are pretty much dating a certain archetype. Don't get me wrong, there are other archetypes that there's only like 2 archetypes in the whole entire world, but apparently they've been running into this same archetype. And the irony to this same archetype is probably what, like 90 to 98. I would say 98% of women in the world. I would say 95 to be nice. The same archetype that they keep running into is about 98% of the women in the world, if you know what I mean. But I'm going to go with 95 to be nice. And that's the thing I've noticed. All these men get stuck with these women, but you expect them to find some unicorn when in fact 95% of the women, running around just act a fool, if you know what I mean. So you expect them to find this 2 to 5% of women who either A, don't exist or are invisible or, get drowned out. The irony to it I've noticed with men is men are visual creatures. So they're naturally not going to gravitate towards this 2 to 5% of women, if you know what I mean, because they're so bombarded by ass and tits. And that's the thing I've noticed. Like if you hear like some of the stuff that they say, especially when it comes to the people that they dated or was married to, had children with, one of the main themes that come up is like how they looked and their body type, or they had a nice ass and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. That seems to be the constant theme. Or, she didn't seem like that, or she said that she would never do that to me, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. I've noticed that we're going to change it. In that 95 to 98% of women who do and say that is that pretty much archetype that they're running into. Because I look at it like this. The ones that they dream of having, they're not going to look at because they're so bombarded with, it's almost like, to men, it's pretty much like being in a real live rap video, if you know what I mean. Like if you were on a set of like Big Pimpin', Jay-Z's Big Pimpin' video, all you see is ass bouncing up and down in your face and titties, rolling around on the screen and shit, just shit like that in general. And this is the problem that men face in this society, because they tend to be distracted by this stuff. Like it's a big, humongous, Big Pimpin' video, or if it's Carnival Live or something like that, literally in their faces, because you also got to take into consideration too, these men want this 2 to 5% of women. However, they're bombarded by this 95 to 98% of women with their ass and tits in their face. And the neat thing about that is I think women know this, so therefore they have to trap you somehow, some way, or get your attention somehow, some way, to basically get their means to an end, if you know what I mean. Because pretty much any woman who can pretty much do that in front of you and parade in front of you is pretty much after only one thing and one thing only, a means to an end. That means they're after your means and to end you financially, or wreck you financially and end you, if you know what I mean. So they're after your means of income or means of resources, and to wreck you in the process, and to ruin you in the process, to end you, however you want to say it. And this is the thing I've always noticed about it. It's quite sad that it happens this way, but it's a thing, and men need to pay attention to that the type of relationships you're getting into. So what I'm basically saying is, if a woman's in your face, ass and tits, she's basically trying to distract you from the girl you want, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying go out there and date. I'm just basically saying this is what society has become. This is what society has devolved into. One big ass rap video with a bunch of chicks bouncing their asses around and twerking around and jiggling their tits in front of you, if you know what I mean. And it's sad, but it's so true how society has devolved and became this thing. And women became this thing because instead of actually being themselves, they're stepping out and trying to be somebody that they're not. That's pretty much it. Yeah.